Now at 9, authorities in Arcadia, Kansas say a death investigation is now a homicide investigation. Plus, Missouri Southern receives a grant for its new adult degree completion program. And the new Crawford County Health Director talks about settling in to the new role.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. The KBI says the death of a Crawford County woman is now a homicide investigation. Crawford County deputies responded to a call Saturday morning in Arcadia. A KBI release revealed a woman discovered the body of her friend. They located 80-year-old Geneva Ham dead inside of her house. After autopsy, officials ruled the death a homicide. Anyone with info about the homicide is asked to contact the police. A Southeast Kansas man is sentenced to prison for a child sex crime. 49-year-old David Hutnall of Coffeyville is sentenced for 1 count of attempted rape of a female child. In a hearing held last year, the victim testified that Hutnall coerced her into sex by claiming to be a Dr. Susan. Hutnall was sentenced to more than 12 years in state prison, but was credited for time already spent in prison. He will now serve more than 9 years. Authorities in Mound Valley, Kansas today released the name of a man found dead after a weekend house fire. Labette County deputies received a call about the fire just before midnight Saturday night. They arrived to find both the Mound Valley and Altamont Rural Fire Departments putting out a fire on 110 East 6th Street. Firefighters discovered a body in one of the bedrooms. The victim has now been identified as 55-year-old Michael Frost. According to the Labette County Sheriff, Frost's body was taken for autopsy. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And now Doug Haiti joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Well, it turned out to be a nice day for us today, yesterday and today to kick off the work week on a Tuesday. During the daytime hours, temperatures, we warmed up into the mid-80s, right where we should be for this time of the year. 86 for a high. 101's record set back in 1954. Nothing going on. We have clear skies. We're going to continue to see clear skies as we go through the rest of the evening into the overnight hours. Most of us sitting low to mid 70s. Big question is, are we going to see any rain? We'll look at that here in a bit.
Missouri Southern is trying to help adults who are working full-time or have children to earn a degree. And KOAM's Jana Haldula learned how the program works for them and has more.
Missouri Southern expanded its programs to help adult learners through a degree completion program. It provides 8-week-long online classes, making the program more convenient for some.
A lot of them, they've hit some sort of ceiling in their own career. And now they've hit that point where a degree might help them earn a little bit extra money or make them eligible for a promotion that they're otherwise not eligible for. We have some students that are coming back and wanting to get a graduate degree or do some graduate work as well. So there's a wide variety of different students.
The program is meant for any adult who is wanting to either start college or finish their degree. Mount says several local companies are wanting to work with the program.
I think folks are really excited to be able to use some of their work experience towards college credit. That's a very big incentive for them, just to get them a little bit closer to their goal of getting a degree or in some cases a certificate.
According to a former MSSU student, a lot of people used to drop out when he was still in college. Now he is back to finish his master's degree.
I got my degree from Missouri Southern, my bachelor's degree in business in 1973. You know, you'd have children and jobs come up, and you know, at that time education just had to take a back seat.
For Stanley, finishing the degree is not all about getting better salary or position, but to achieve a goal that he has not had time for before.
I'm retired, so I've got plenty of time on my hands, and it's something that I've always wanted to do.
Setting a personal goal and helping them achieve it. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, really, that we don't talk about.
In Joplin, Jana Haudala, KOAM News.
Mound says those interested in joining the program can do so at 5 different times during the year. Crawford County Health has a new health director. County Commissioners appointed Deborah Anthony on August 30th. She served as a paramedic in the county for 11 years, and she spent another 11 years working for the health department. Anthony says the team around her has helped her settle in.
Staff has been really great. Our department's really not about the director's position. It's really not. We have a really strong team. They know how to get things done.
The Crawford County Health Department is located on 410 East Atkinson Avenue in Pittsburgh. The Boots Court Motel in Carthage is getting a renovation. Original tile and hardwood floors will be in some of the rooms along with the original desk. The front of the building will have carports and the neon strip will be put back after the outside work is complete. The Boots property was built in 1939 by Arthur Boots, and the back of the building was built in 1946.
Being purchased by a nonprofit, we are able to use the funds that we are making off of the motel to be able to turn back into doing things for the city. The first of which is the visitor center and the new office for the motel that's at the gas station property that's been purchased next door.
The renovations are still ongoing, and they are looking at the Maple Leaf Festival weekend to be completed. The midterm elections are inching closer, now just 9 short weeks away. Both parties are trying to capture the attention of millions of voters across the country, hoping they'll head to the polls. Key issues like the economy and abortion are at the center of the debate right now. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has a closer look from Washington.
What was once looking like a blowout midterm in Republicans' favor, very much in play as Democrats have made deep cuts into GOP support.
They're seeing action out of the Democratic Party. I think they're second-guessing support for some of these extremist policies by Republicans, especially when it comes to abortion.
A Wall Street Journal poll now showing a slight edge for congressional Democratic candidates were the election held today.
I think that the Democrats are getting a little bit overconfident here based on just a few cherry-picked numbers here in the final stretch of the midterms.
The action Democrats are highlighting: gun control legislation, student loan forgiveness, and climate funding.
It's proof that democracy can deliver for the people.
President Biden meeting with his cabinet on Tuesday, but he spent the holiday weekend on the road, slamming his predecessor.
Trump and the MAGA Republicans made their choice. We can choose to build a better America, or we can continue down this sliding path of oblivion.
Republicans say yes, it is a choice, but not the one President Biden is proposing.
Joe Biden's idea of unity is you do it his way and then you don't challenge him.
Instead, they point to the economy, rising prices, and border security.
Us MAGA Republicans, we are the ones fighting for the soul of America. We are the ones having to save America from Joe Biden and the Democrats.
The Wall Street Journal poll also found independent voters have swung from overwhelmingly supporting Republicans, now preferring Democrats by 3 points. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Donald Trump was granted his request for a third-party arbiter to look over documents taken from his home in Mar-a-Lago. It's unclear who this so-called special master will be, but by the end of the week, we may get a better read. Fox News correspondent Mark Meredith has more from Washington on the next chapter of the legal saga.
Supporters of former President Trump are cheering a federal judge's decision to appoint a special master or independent third party to review materials the FBI seized from Mar-a-Lago nearly a month ago. Both federal prosecutors and lawyers for the former president have until Friday to develop a list of special master candidates, but it's Judge Eileen Cannon who gets the final say.
The attacks on this judge are really astounding. The special master is an extension of her authority.
In a ruling released Monday, Judge Cannon granted the former president's request for a special master to weed out materials subject to attorney-client privilege and executive privilege claims.
I don't think it changes the ball game so much as maybe we'll have a rain delay for a couple of innings.
Meantime, the ruling means the Justice Department must temporarily pause its review of seized materials.
This does not prevent them from continuing their investigation. They can't use the documents, but they can interview witnesses.
If the Justice Department appeals, a decision would then fall to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta, where Trump appointed 6 of the 11 judges on the bench.
Whenever you're going to the Court of Appeals, normally it takes a long time. It can take a year. Supreme Court review, which Trump will no doubt try and avail himself of, that'll take time.
There are strong indications that the Justice Department plans to appeal the judge's ruling. Meantime, the former president, he continues to fundraise off of these legal developments. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
We now take time to honor one of our four-state heroes. Private First Class Donald Weekly, a Nevada, Missouri native, served in the Army. He served from 1951 till 1953. He earned the Korean Service Medal. To Private First Class Donald Weekly, we thank you, our four-state hero. And Doug is next with a look at the complete forecast. And later, the Pittsburgh State Gorillas prepare to hit the road to face off against the 11th ranked team in the country. We'll hear from the Gorillas next in sports.
It's safe.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. Plenty of sunshine across the region. Temperatures fantastic. Most of us mid to upper 80s. A little bit hotter once you got into southeastern Kansas. Nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Clear skies right now, and that's what we are going to see as we go through the overnight hours tonight. All right, we got a little bit of rain in spots. Over the weekend, we had some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Really hasn't put too much of a dent into our drought, especially on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. Missouri's been looking better, at least over the past couple weeks. So that is good news, but we could use some more rain. We're not going to have any rain at least the next couple days. High temps yesterday, lower 80s, felt great. Mid 80s for highs for us today, and it's comfortable. We're sitting anywhere from low to mid 70s southwestern Missouri, and then near 80 still once you get out across southeastern Kansas. 7th and range line currently sitting at 75. Easterly winds are light, humidity at 79%. Clear skies, nothing going on here. We look fine as we work through the overnight hours. Down across the southern parts of the plains, some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms. Besides that, dominated by this big dome of high pressure, western third of the country. So you can see our upper level flow is out of the north. So that's Canadian air. So that's why we aren't seeing temps into the 90s with the high heat indices across the region. It's just regular hot across the area. Let's go through time during the overnight hours tonight. We'll stop here in a couple hours at about midnight, right around 70. By morning, very comfortable, mid 60s to start. We're going to warm, lower 80s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, mid 80s. A little bit hotter once you get into our western counties, lower 90s. In fact, pretty much a carbon copy of what we did see today. 64 to start, 81 by noon. High temp, 86. Northerly winds are going to be light at about 5 to 10. Let's go into tomorrow night. Also, looks fine. Clear skies across the region. We'll drop back 59, 60, 61. So very comfortable conditions for Thursday morning and then Thursday afternoon. Looking pretty good. A little bit hotter. High temps upper 80s to lower 90s again on the Kansas side. And then we'll start to see a few changes by the time we head late this week into the weekend. Watch our area of high pressure. It starts to break down. We're going to track some tropical moisture, combine it with our next storm system, and at least give us chances to get some showers and thunderstorms in here as we head into the weekend. But temperatures are going to be warm, bordering on hot the next several days. 86 tomorrow, 89 on Thursday, back to 92 on Friday, 93 Saturday. We could get some thunderstorms in here by Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then cooling us back down just a bit as we head into the second half of the weekend. But overall, not bad for the first full week of September.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in Minnesota and Illinois. Mm-hmm. So the summer that we had was foreign to me.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful to see some of the temps that we have on our forecast.
80s
at this
look
point.
Pretty good.
Oh yeah, and then those lows at the bottom there.
I know.
Looking
Lower
forward to
60s.
that. All right. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
And coming up, sad news out of Tennessee.
A family's worst nightmare confirmed as Memphis police confirm a body found Monday is a missing mother of two. I'm Charles Watson in Memphis. I'll have the details coming up.
It's not the outcome people were hoping for. People in Tennessee revealing the body discovered in Memphis on Monday is that of Eliza Fletcher, a mother of two and the daughter of a prominent businessman. The murder suspect went before a judge today and authorities added to his charges. Fox News correspondent Charles Watson has more from Memphis.
Heartbreak for a family and community. Memphis police confirming the body found on Monday is that of missing mom Eliza Fletcher.
This finding marked the culmination of a 4-day intensive investigation incorporating a robust search and rescue effort.
Fletcher's family releasing a statement reading in part, quote, "We are heartbroken and devastated by this senseless loss. Liza was such a joy to so many." Last week, the 34-year-old teacher went out for an early morning run near the University of Memphis. Surveillance video captured her being forced into a black GMC Terrain. On Monday, Fletcher's body was discovered in an abandoned home in a residential neighborhood about 7 miles from where she was abducted and less than a mile from where her alleged abductor was reportedly seen cleaning the floors of that SUV.
While the outcome of this investigation is not what we hoped for, we are nonetheless pleased to remove this dangerous predator off the streets of Memphis.
Over the weekend, U.S. Marshals arrested 38-year-old Cleotha Abston Henderson in connection with her kidnapping. He made his first court appearance Tuesday morning on multiple charges, including kidnapping and tampering with evidence. Authorities announced additional charges of first-degree murder and first-degree murder in perpetration of kidnapping. Abston previously served 20 years in prison for another kidnapping and was released in 2020.
This guy is a predator. It would not surprise me if he studied her movement and then acted on it.
A judge holding Abston Henderson on $500,000 bond, which he says he's unable to pay. In Memphis, Charles Watson, Fox News.
Abston Ebner is expected to be arraigned on murder charges tomorrow. Still ahead, students in Uvalde, Texas return to the classroom 3 months after a mass shooting at their school. A new and worrisome school year started today in Uvalde, Texas, 3 months after a gunman killed 19 children and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more.
A new school year starts in Uvalde, Texas, but some students are facing lingering fears following one of the deadliest shootings in American history. Just 3 months ago, a lone gunman broke into Robb Elementary School, killing 19 children and 2 teachers before being fatally shot by law enforcement. Now teachers and staff are welcoming the survivors back to classrooms, with neighboring schools urging students to honor Uvalde by wearing its colors, maroon and white.
We can't even begin to imagine the level of emotion, maybe the anxiety, the fear. So this is our way of just saying that we're with you.
Robb Elementary has been permanently closed. Its students are attending classes in other facilities. There was a strong security presence on day one and new fencing around the town's public school campuses. Officials say about 36 state troopers will remain on those campuses, but that's little comfort to some families who point out there were almost 100 troopers on scene during the attack.
It was a systematic failure from the top to the bottom. Everybody is complicit in it, and nobody wants to take accountability.
Meanwhile, President Biden still using the shooting as a call to action, saying more needs to be done to make sure dangerous weapons don't fall into the wrong hands.
When I was recently in Uvalde, you know what some of the parents had to do? Supply DNA. Supply DNA. Because the AR-15 just rips the body apart.
School officials are also offering a virtual learning option for Robb Elementary students. About 100 families have signed up so far. In New York, Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
Up next, we're going to check out a product bringing a popular fall flavor to your usual cup of ramen noodles. Labor Day is officially in the rearview mirror, and all we can see up ahead is pumpkin spice. But is this taking it a bit too far? Nissin's Cup of Noodles is releasing a pumpkin spice flavor this October. The instant ramen is sauced with a special pumpkin spice seasoning. You just need to add some water and put it in the microwave. Nissin says it's the perfect blend of sweet, savory, and spiced. If you really want to make a treat, the company suggests topping off your noodles with some whipped cream. Ugh. The fall flavor will be on the shelves in select Walmarts next month. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Some Joplin High School students give back to a nonprofit organization that provides services to foster and adoptive families. And we'll take a close look at a local wind farm to see how it generates power for some homes in the 4 states.
Ashley.
Some Joplin High School students today made a big donation. Members of the high school's philanthropic society presented a check for nearly $11,000 to Foster Adopt Connect Joplin. The nonprofit helps provide services for local foster and adoptive families. The students worked on several fundraising projects over the last year to raise money.
Specifically chose this place because it was kind of new in town. They just opened this campus. It was we'd researched some of the other campuses in the area, and it kind of really just hit home with us because we're thinking about the kind of the foster kids that are in the high school that might be struggling with things that we don't really see. It's kind of like more under the surface struggle.
The group is also raising money this year for another nonprofit. Missouri Southern today gave students a chance to taste some world cuisine. The university's dining hall hosted an event called A Taste of Czech. The menu featured food from the Czech Republic, including pork schnitzel and bread dumplings. It's all a part of the school's Czech semester to give students a broader experience of the world.
Is more of a the potato salad was a creamy potato salad, pretty hearty, and the tomatoes and cucumbers and onions in a vinegar sauce. It was really nice.
Other events as part of the Czech semester include an art gallery and a historical presentation on the city of Prague. Crowder College hosted a ribbon cutting today in recognition of Liberty Utilities and Bill Martin. The recognition is for their contributions towards the remodel of one of their former chemistry labs into an emergency medical services classroom.
You know, I hope that they truly understand that Liberty cares and that Liberty wants to play a part in communities. And the biggest thing that I hope that they take away from this is that what they do day in and day out is so appreciated.
Liberty Utilities contributed $10,000 towards the remodel. Power comes to us in several different ways. We've been exploring how we get electricity here in the 4 states, and tonight we're heading to the sky. KOAM's Chris Warner has more on how wind power is bringing power to the people.
The rural landscape of southwest Missouri and southeast Kansas is now dotted with wind turbines soaring 400 feet into the sky. Liberty Utilities has 3 wind farms that generate electricity. Individually, each turbine's not that powerful. Liberty's Senior Manager of Strategic Projects, Sean Rooney, says together they bring the power.
Each one of these turbines is between 2 and 2.2 megawatts, so relatively small generator, but you get to a site like this where we have 69 turbines. That's about 150 total megawatts.
Every bit of power generated still goes a long way to lighting your home.
Yeah, if you assume that 1 megawatt generator can power 400 homes, that means each one of these turbines could power approximately 800 homes, just a little bit more than that.
Like a large power plant, failure is possible in a wind turbine. Rooney says the loss of one turbine isn't that big of a deal. Even if an entire farm went down, Liberty has alternative generation sources. The blades on these turbines are massive, measuring more than 100 feet in length. Rooney says there's a good reason for their size.
Wind speeds can be drastically different a few hundred feet up in the air than they are at ground level, so there's not a motor in there. We're not turning them. We're not using electricity to make them turn. There's just more wind at 400 feet than there is at ground level.
Rooney says there are still other advances to be made, such as battery reserves for when the wind isn't blowing. But even then, he believes the future of wind power is bright.
Renewable energy is just growing by leaps and bounds, and I just really don't see any end for it in the future. Add on to that the fact that it operates without fuel, so this is electricity that comes at zero fuel cost. That's just a big win for everyone.
In Barton County, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Officials with Liberty say that there are 277 total turbines in our area, generating around 600 megawatts of power at full capacity. Tomorrow night, as we wrap up our energy series, we'll learn about the Southwest Power Pool and the role it plays in managing energy from the Gulf Coast to the Canadian border. A bit later, trying to build a more sustainable future.
The construction industry is getting a green makeover. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at why some building developers are ditching steel and concrete. That's straight ahead.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. We had some scattered showers and thunderstorms on Sunday, late afternoon into the evening hours, and then the holiday and today were fantastic. Plenty of sunshine across the region. Humidity's been low, temperatures have been nice, mainly into the mid-60s, not 60s, mid-80s over the past couple days. Still have a drought problem, especially on the Kansas and the Oklahoma sides. Cleared up a little bit. It's not cleared up, but it's better. in southwestern Missouri, northwest Arkansas, which is good, but we could still use some rain. We don't have any rain really in the forecast for the next couple days. Temps have been great. Lower 80s yesterday, mid 80s for us today. Most of us right now are sitting low 70s, eastern counties to near 80 once you get into our far western counties. Let's go to 7th and Rangeline outside in Joplin. 75 easterly winds are light. Humidity is at 79%, but there's nothing going on here. Clear skies. Will continue to see the clear skies as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Any rain, you got to travel south, down across southern parts of the U.S. Out to the west, you can see this huge dome, a high pressure. So we have a hurricane which is going to come in on Baja, California, kind of wrapping around this. And then we have a northerly flow out of Canada, and that's why our humidity and temperatures are fairly pleasant. So until that breaks down, we're not going to get any storm systems in here, and that's pretty much what is going to happen over the next 2 or 3 days. All right, let's step through time. Here's midnight. We're going to go into the morning hours. Everybody looks good, mid-60s. Plenty of sunshine to start the day, right around 80 by noon. I think most of us will top out right around 86 or 87 degrees. Very similar to what we saw today, almost a carbon copy. 64 to start, 81 by noon, high temp 86, northerly winds are going to be light, 5 to 10. Now, the farther west you live, Yates Center, Independence, Nowata, Parsons, those areas will go back into the low, some areas mid-90s for highs tomorrow, but again, the humidity is fairly low. Tomorrow night, temperatures they're going to drop back again into the lower 60s. It's actually going to feel great as we go into Thursday morning. Let's go into Thursday afternoon. Just a smidge hotter, temperatures upper 80s, and then again, lower 90s once you get into our western counties. We are going to finally start to see some changes by the time we get down the road as we head into the weekend. Watch the area of high pressure. It starts to break down. We have a weak little tropical wave. You've got a hurricane out here. Weak little tropical wave that's going to lift north, combine with a cold front, and this will at least give us some chances for showers and thunderstorms as we head into the weekend. Until then, pretty much dry. 86 tomorrow, 89 on Thursday, 92 on Friday, 93 on Saturday. Thunderstorm chances late Saturday night into Sunday, but overall it looks like the bulk of the weekend looks pretty good.
Yeah, fingers continue to be crossed for some of that rain.
Yeah, we need the rain. We also, there's the Pride Fest going on in Joplin, so
sure.
Nobody wants it to rain on the weekend, but we do need rain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Doug. Well, I'm sure we can all relate, as here in the 4 states we've had an extremely dry summer, and a wildfire in California has turned deadly, as a brutal heat wave in the western U.S. continues to make conditions difficult for firefighters. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Hunt reports from Los Angeles.
An intense heat wave in parts of the western U.S. is fueling wildfires in California. Triple-digit temperatures are bearing down on the southern part of the state, where the Fairview fire continues to burn. The fire sparked Monday in Hemet and has now burned more than 2,000 acres, forcing many residents to evacuate. CAL FIRE is encouraging all residents to take evacuation warnings and orders seriously after at least 2 people lost their lives.
It appears right now that those individuals were attempting to flee the area and were overcome by the fire.
Officials say residents should be prepared to be out of their homes for at least 4 or 5 days, maybe longer.
I'd rather that we could just stay at home, but we don't know what the winds are going to do. That fire's been moving pretty fast.
Meanwhile, California officials are calling on residents to cut down on their energy use, issuing a flex alert. The state's power grid is under heavy strain as people try to keep cool. But if energy use is not reduced, rotating outages could be a possibility. Under the Flex Alert, residents are being asked to take power-saving steps, including setting thermostats to 78 degrees or higher, avoiding the use of major appliances, turning off unnecessary lights, and avoiding charging electric vehicles, all during the peak hours of 4 to 9 p.m. The heat is expected to gradually ease later this week. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
And coming up in sports, Pitt State football prepares for a road trip to face off against the 11th ranked Nebraska Kearney Lopers. Plus, Joplin softball opens up conference play at home against Carthage. Jacob Leonard has that and highlights next.
K-State extends.
Well, this week is a big week for the Pittsburg State Gorillas. The Gorillas hit the road on Thursday night to face the 11th-ranked Nebraska Kearney Lopers in Week 2. And both of these teams 1-0 to begin the season. Pitt State beat Central Missouri 21-10 last week in their opener, while UNK got by Missouri Southern 24-7. Now this Lopers team, kind of hard to stop offensively. They have the reigning MIAA Offensive Player of the Year and quarterback TJ Davis. They led the MIAA in rushing last year and led the league in time of possession. But the Gorillas are up to the task after holding UCM to 212 yards last week, including just 33 on the ground.
I love stopping the run, so I want to, the more run plays we get, the happier I'll be. We're still flying around to the ball, being physical to the point of contact. We just got to continue that. And this week we really got to focus on doing our job, and we got to play unselfish football this week and take up blocks when we could take up blocks and then make the play when we need to make the play. Really, we want to be the same team we are. We want to be the most physical and fast team there is. But the only thing that changes is just our schemes.
The Joplin Eagles are off to a hot start this softball season. The Eagles are 10-2 in their first 12 games. Now tonight, Joplin hits the field for their COC League opener, hosting the Carthage Tigers. That was a pitcher's duel early. Joe McDaniel in the circle for Joplin. Strikeout there in the first. Now to the second, a couple more strikeouts from McDaniel. She goes a complete game, strikes out 7. Bottom of the second, Ashlyn Jackson doing her thing too. Pair of strikeouts. Now the 6th inning ended up being the difference here. Joplin gets 4 in the 6th. They win today 4-1. Eagles now 11-2 and they've won 5 straight games. In other COC action tonight, a little rivalry game here with Carl Junction hosting Webb City. That one was close most of the way, but Webb City pulls away in the end, going on to win 10-4. The St. Louis Cardinals have 27 games left in the regular season. Coming into the day, the Cards are 79-56 overall and 7.5 games clear of the Milwaukee Brewers for first place in the NL Central. And tonight the Cards on the field for Game 2 of their 4-game series with the Nationals. Washington won Game 1 last night 6-0. Tonight's game goes to the Cards 4-1. Nolan Gorman 2 for 3 with a double, a home run, and a pair of RBIs. In the American League, the Royals host Game 2 of their series with the Guardians tonight. Kansas City aiming for its 3rd win in the last 4 games. That game's still going, but almost over. Royals down right now 4-1 in the bottom of the 9th. Salvador Perez is 1 for 3 on the evening with a solo home run for Kansas City. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Rising global temperatures and mounting greenhouse gas emissions are putting the planet on red alert, and it's causing the construction industry to take greener approach to new projects. Fox correspondent Jackie Ibanez has more on why architects are abandoning steel and concrete and why wood reigns supreme.
With the world facing a climate crisis, architects say the fight to curb greenhouse gas emissions is hitting close to home, literally.
The construction and operations of buildings accounts for between 36 and 40% of CO2 emissions globally.
That notion is ushering in a sustainable housing trend across the country, focusing on using renewable resources in place of steel and concrete.
Steel and concrete have a fairly large carbon footprint in terms of their production. They each account for about 10% of the carbon dioxide emissions globally. Wood, on the other hand, basically has 0 or negative carbon footprint. The reason for this is because while trees grow, as you know, they sequester carbon during the photosynthesis process.
The initiative is on full display in the Big Apple, where this new condo unit, the Timber House, is living up to its name, with the building's structure made of composite wood beams called mass timber.
It has great performance and durability.
And because the wood is pleasant to look at, there's no need to waste extra materials like drywall to cover it up. But that's not all. The Timber House is packed with a slew of other sustainable elements.
It's super insulated. There's no gas anywhere in the building, no combustion. So everything is working on electricity.
One thing potentially standing in the way of more wooden structures dominating skylines across the country are fears over fire safety. But architects say the thickness of mass timber products help make them harder to burn. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Coming up, we're going to head to Willard, Missouri, where an officer is reunited with the baby he helped save. A Willard, Missouri police officer helped save a newborn who stopped breathing. He was the first to arrive at the scene. Reporter Elizabeth Vamitre sat down with the family and the officer during a reunion today to hear what happened.
If you see Sergeant Steve Prudy on the street, you may notice some really nice things about him.
He's soft-spoken, kind, gentle.
But if you look at the details, you might notice a little more.
If they're a discerning observer, they would see the gnarled brow, the scar tissue in his eyebrows. They would see his cauliflowered ears.
Prudy used to be a fighter. That was years ago, even though some signs still remain. Those who have seen him say he was good.
And it turns out he's pretty good at saving babies too.
I get the call for a woman in labor, and the fire department and the ambulance were en route.
Sergeant Prudy says the call was close, right across from the police station. The dispatcher said the baby was delivered and he needed to get there quick.
I pulled up on scene. They told me that the baby wasn't breathing and the mother had started CPR.
Sergeant Prudy was the first to arrive. His first thought,
I need to go help the mother do CPR and try to help the baby.
He got there. The baby was blue. Using this tiny CPR mask, began to administer CPR to the baby. Prudy says he still wasn't breathing on his own and asked if the parents had anything to clear his airways. They did.
When the baby was breathing on his own and I was able to hand the baby to his mother, that was much relief.
If it wasn't for him and the other guys that showed up that were there, I definitely it could have went a lot worse than it did.
Today at 3 weeks old, baby Asher is thriving.
He's a happy little man.
Surrounded by people who care about him a lot.
He's little and I like him.
Including a new cut man watching over his back.
Yeah. Nice stuff, man.
Prudy isn't all about all this attention, though he appreciates it. He and others also want to give recognition to the mother's quick thinking.
My fiance Taylor, she definitely inspired me as much as Purdy did, as calm as she was during the whole thing. And
a team effort to make sure baby Asher has a fighting chance.
Well, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. But first, we'll leave you with a video of a gibbon monkey playing in a Noah. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.